This episode of Ticket Volume is brought to you by us, InvGate. Get service operations under control in no time. Get 1 free month of our software solution by going to try.invigate.com. Ticket Volume is proud to present the CEO and founder of InvGate, who got his start at NCR as a consultant and did IT ops roles at La Nacion before becoming a director at a Taiwanese software company. And he has served as CEO and co-founder of InvGate for over 16 years. Welcome to Ticket Volume, news and information for improving IT experiences. I'm your host, Matt Beran, and on each episode, I get the pleasure and the distinction to get to chat with different leaders to share their insights on service management, technology, business, and kind of whatever else they are thinking about. And this episode is going to be more good vibes. And hey, do you want to continue the conversation after this episode? I have been seeing your comments on LinkedIn. I have seen your comments on YouTube and on Spotify. Use those platforms to dig deeper into these topics and engage with the other experts in our industry, or just tell me how handsome I look. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day and a great week. And I also hope that you'll leave a comment, connect with us, share our podcast with someone, get involved and get us improving. But for now, let's begin. Welcome to Ticket Volume, Ariel Gesto.
Hi, Matt. Thank you for having me. And I think that finally we made it. And it was we were planning this podcast for almost 18 months. So, and I'm very grateful for you to give me the opportunity to participate in the podcast.
Oh, I am so honored to have you on as one of the best leaders that I have seen in the ITSM industry. It is my pleasure to bring you on. It always feels a little self-serving to bring, InvGate employees onto the podcast. But to be honest, we need to do it because we are one of the best vendors in the space. We're really giving to people, and it's important for people to see, like, where does the magic come from? Why does InvGate work so well? And recently, I was in Buenos Aires for the InvGate user conference, and it was great. You had a great presentation. Some of our other colleagues had amazing presentations, and some of our customers shared their stories too. It was fantastic. The whole thing was in Spanish, which I will admit was a very big challenge for me. And so I want to just extend a word of thanks to you, Ariel, for doing this podcast in English. It's always a challenge to do something in a
I am
foreign language.
returning you a favor.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it because my Spanish is not there yet. And when I was there, we had a moment to kind of talk about AI, and I got to talk to Danny, one of the head of R&D at InvGate, who also was talking about AI. And the thing that kind of comes up or continues to come up is this fear, this uncertainty, this doubt that happens around AI because we're at this weird point in our industry. What is your perspective on that? Like, when you think about AI in terms of service management, why is everyone stressed about it?
I completely agree with you on that appreciation that AI is creating a lot of fear in different companies, in different positions. I try to relate that to like too much information. Everyone is speaking about AI agents, how they are going to replace humans on basic tasks, and in the end, in the head of many people, it is not that AI is going to engage them to make them do more, but they see as a threat to replace. And many leaders, they are incorporating AI with this idea of replacing people, and that creates a very negative impact from AI. Even when these days, when the next natural step of AI, as it is right now, is the famous AI agents that are going to be able to do many more tasks that nowadays are conducted by humans. Um, and I think that also it is a particular situation in which AI was a consumer first thing. Because it was a consumer first, everyone was using AI to help your children to do the homework, to play a little bit, to create some funny images. Uh, but then everyone or leaders and management teams, they are start asking, okay, which is my AI strategy? Because according to research analysts, according to publications, if I don't have an AI strategy by 2025, I'm going to be out of business. And when you have the management team asking for the famous AI strategy that needs to be in place, they look back and they look to the CIO. The CIO doesn't have a very clear idea on what is an AI strategy, how I'm going to, what I need to prepare in order to be able to have an AI strategy, how I'm going to prepare my data, how I'm going to make my data unbiased. So there is tons of things um, that are pushing the IT leaders in a very stressful situation in which they are asking for results. They are asking to have a plan on AI. And in many times, they are still, AI is in the baby steps. So, yeah, it's a very challenging time for being an IT leader on any organization.
Yes, you totally nailed it. There is no playbook. There is no guidebook. We're having to write it ourselves from scratch right now. And that is such a big challenge for leaders to pave the way with something new. And they also have all this noise in the marketplace. What do you think about that? Like when you think about AI software companies, startups, even our competitors, and that they're talking about AI, they're putting out these releases and these news articles. What stands out to you about those things?
I think that a little less conversation, a little more action, please.
Mm,
That is a good thought to have in this AI wave. No, the reality is that um, everyone is almost every public company, every public software company or technological company, they need to say something about AI. I think that they
hmm
need to put some line in their balance sheet that says that how AI grow, because that growth is going to be 10x on their revenue. And if they don't put anything in the balance sheet related to AI, the market is going to hit hard on them. So I understand why, for example, Google is telling that 35% of their code is written by AI by now, while you read an interview to the programmers working at Google and say, okay, it is not like that. It's kind of misleading. What is happening is that we are using AI to autocomplete our sentences. Um, this 35%, it is not that AI is writing the code. AI is completing the sentences that we are writing the code.
hmm
So that is how clear is to see the pressure of in the market for putting something related to AI in the news. Um, so yes, and our take on that is let's try to be careful on how do we implement AI, where do we see AI creates real value to our customers, which language models are the right ones for each feature, not neither OpenAI, Copilot, Gemini, or whatever, or Sham, or whatever other models are the best on every task. In many cases, you have small language models that are more suitable to be used to summarize information. Others are much better in order to expand on to generate responses. So what we did at InvGate was create a layer of abstraction, which is called AI service, that allows us to connect each feature to the best language model created for that particular purpose. That
Nice.
allows us to create more value at a very optimal cost to our customers.
I love that. Yeah. I love the agnostic approach. It just makes sense because every day there's a new model, every day there's a new technology.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we have to be flexible. I would love to know like what you think about AI replacing people. Do you think like philosophically beyond because you just said it like less talk more reality, but now let's move beyond reality into philosophy. Do you think AI is going to replace people? Do you think there will be a decreased labor force?
And I have mixed feelings about that. I think that everything that relates to high volume, little complexity is our candidate to be automated. In that case, are going to be replaced by AI. But as every industrial uh, change that happened or revolution, as many people are putting AI as a new industrial revolution. It didn't replace people. It engaged the way people work and it made them work better and deliver more value. So I think nothing makes me believe that this is going to be pretty different from that. Um, Again, there is ghost on every corner. There is people who talk about AI agents replacing humans, and people talking about universal income to every employee that is replaced by an AI algorithm. Um, Still, this is really, really very, very new. We are doing the first steps on this. Um, there is a lot to see in order to have a much more comprehensive idea on what AI really means to humanity and to the people who are doing their work.
Yeah, exactly. We need to understand this, and it's a luxury to think philosophically about these things. But that's where we're at. That is really where we're at when it comes to software companies developing these AI features. We are blindly depending on software companies to do the right thing. And I like your example. It's like an industrial revolution when the printing press came out, when the libraries started. We had more access to information. We had to trust the printers to only really print good material. So when we think about it, or when you think about InvGate developing AI features, what do we do to make sure that we're doing the right thing? Does that make sense?
Yeah, we are very sharp on which are the features that um, replace repetitive things that our users are doing inside of our products. Um, we are trying to digest as more information for them to make more comprehensive decisions and more informed decisions about the status of their services. Uh, but we are not um, aiming to replace people. We are
Mm.
aiming to make them do work in a more easy way, in a more effective, and to create more value to their companies. So yeah, what that is the way in which we embrace AI at InVGate.
Excellent. What a great answer. I'm wondering, because we do a lot of customer driven development. Customers request features. We are always listening to customers and trying to determine, hey, are they coming up with good ideas? Should this be in the software? Are our customers actually asking for AI features? Are they begging for them? Are they waiting for them? I would love to know what you
Yeah,
think.
and that is surprised me because I the past 3 months I've been talking with tons of customers in different parts of the world. Um, and for my surprise, I was the only one talking about AI. None of them they really asked for any AI feature or anything like that. It was me pushing the conversation of AI, and it was then being careful about, okay, let's not rush anything. I want to be sure first on governance. I want to be sure that nothing goes into the hallucination mode. um, I want to be sure that my data is not going to be super biased on anything. um, so yeah, again, I think that there is different ideas of AI. One is the ones that the media is pushing.
Hmm.
Then is the reality that it is happening in the mid-size, low enterprise company. Then there is the reality that happen in the big companies like JP Morgan and the big names. Uh, because in the end, training and language model with your own data in a private way, and being sure that you are on top of the governance of that, it is really expensive. Expensive in orders of many millions. Um, so not only to have the hardware, it's expensive on energy consumption, is expensive on time, is expensive on CPU. So it is not something that many companies can play with right now with their own data in a very secure way.
Oh man, that's such a good response. I love that because we sort of forget. We because it's so easy to just go to chat.openai.com and you're interacting with ChatGPT and you're getting these responses back. It's so easy to think that that is easy, that that is simple, that that is inexpensive, when in reality, making your data clean, making it accessible, and then building your own models and running your own models is very, very expensive. I think that's a good reminder to to our audience that we got a long ways to go.
Yeah, and let me add something. On top of that, I received like a few dozen of emails from customers um, giving us congratulations for deploying the summaries of the incidents, the automatic responses. They are using that, but again, they are using just a little bit of AI
Yeah.
to engage their work, to make their work more easy, and to try to put their time to deliver more value. And I think that is, for me, that is the right path we need to follow.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to agree. I have to agree. So I selfishly now just we're gonna pivot from the AI topic, and I want
Okay.
to selfishly ask you some questions about what it's
Bring,
like running a service management company. So tell me, how
uh,
did you get into this? How did you get into InvGate? Why asset management? Why service management?
um, that goes to the times in which I need to face some licensing audit, and all the software by that time were like extremely expensive. And I came with this idea of this could be much more easy, and it doesn't need to be that expensive. So I started a company with that idea in mind. It was a very strange time to create an IT management software company from Buenos Aires. Um, but there was a thesis that I wanted to prove that with the right talent, innovation doesn't happen only in Silicon Valley. So with that in mind, I tried to get the best talent my hands can, and we worked like really hard for a few years to have the first version of the product. And then what happened is every time we were showing the product, everyone was like very embracing the idea of this small company that try to compete at a global level with the biggest software companies in the world. Um, so that was a really big driver. And then when you see how you change the life of the people who are working at the company, that is another big driver. Um, and now we are in this path of trying to be the best in the world in our category. And I think that is going to be an amazing thing and an amazing example on how, with the right people, with the right talent, anything is possible.
I love that. I love that you brought up that it's changing people's lives at our customers' companies. That is why I am still in this industry. I see how much better good service management makes people's lives, their quality of life. That's why I've stayed in this industry. And I love that hearing the history about, that you used asset management, that you
Yeah,
had the actual problem that our software solves, and you wanted to build it because you saw what was out there. I love that. And so
exactly.
tell me a little bit about, like, what is a day in your life like? How do you lead a service management software company?
Okay, I'm. I need to be super honest about that. In which I have an amazing team of very talented people working at InvGate that makes things very easy for me. A typical day in my life, I woke up 6:30, 7 a.m. I s- I take my children to the school. Then I spend a few hours reading everything my hands can get on, like Google News, Flipboard, everything related to enterprise software, everything related to AI. I digest tons of newsletters that I'm subscribed, um, just to be informed of what is how technology is moving in the world. Um, then we have a few team meetings with different topics. I used to get very involved in product. That is something that I'm very passionate about. Um, but honest truth needs to be heard, and I'm not doing the hard part of the work. The hard part of the work are the guys who are working with me. Those are the ones who are doing the amazing things here.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you just need a CEO that's going to connect all the people. It's so funny to be a part of several software companies. You start to see how roles change as the company grows. In the infancy, at the beginning, the CEO is writing code and pushing features and representing the customer in development meetings.
Yeah,
And
you
then
need
as you
to put
grow,
multiple hats every time.
yeah.
I remember the first days. I was the programmer, the support, the implementation guy, the ones who give you the invoice, the ones who call to collect the invoice. And so I was running a one-man show for a few years at the beginning. Yes, it changed. It definitely changed. Luckily for my health, it changed.
Yes, and so if you're a founder, or you're starting something up and you are that person who's wearing all those hats, there is hope. Esperanza, there is hope that you will get
Definitely.
to where Ari is at. Ari, what advice would you give someone that's actually starting a company or is inspired by this podcast to start their own company? What advice would you give
Yeah.
give to someone?
Um, get in love for what you do.
Mm,
And there is a common saying in which do what you love. I I tend to believe that I prefer to get in love with what I am doing. And in that way, I can do anything and I can appreciate and love whatever I do. And that makes things very, very easy. And that passion it translates to almost everything: how you leave the company, how you create the features, how you connect with your customers, how you hire employees, how you define the culture of the company. So yeah, for me, is love what you do is an amazing driver.
And I can see the love in the way that you lead, in the way that you lead our company. I see it. So that is a great answer. And I can tell you, he is not lying, folks. He really does love what he does. So,
I, I used to cry every time that I need to do like public speaking. Like many times I cry. So yeah, there is a few videos out there for me crying in the middle of a presentation, something like that.
yeah, that's true passion. We actually care. We
It
do
happened, my friend.
actually care. Yeah. So Ari, I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for taking some time, and thank you for being on Ticket Volume. How can people get in touch with you and learn more about InvGate?
Ariel@ingate.com, and that is my email, and you can um, you can write me there. And thank you, Matt, for being such a humble guy. You're one of a kind, and I appreciate to have you at InvGate. It's an honor for me to work with you.
Likewise, igualmente, me. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for being on Ticket Volume.
Take care, buddy.
Thank you so much. And for our audience, did you know that you can actually change and improve this podcast by DMing me, leaving a comment, or just put something out on the internet? I'll find it. It's just another way that you can turn up the ticket volume. And speaking of ticket volume, did you know that this podcast is brought to you by InvGate? InvGate is a fit-for-purpose service management solution with integrated asset management designed to let you focus on supporting your organization without waiting for administrators to make changes that you need for proper service management. In fact, IT teams from Toyota, NASA, and McDonald's use InvGate to manage requests, automate workflows, and centralize inventory data so that they can focus on delivering better service, because good service is good business.